Hi.
Hi, I'm Joe Walensky, and I am the principal of Walensky and Associates. I will be putting on an event coming up in Raleigh, North Carolina, Writers UA East for Content Pros, and we're holding that in cooperation with the Department of English at North Carolina State University, and that's going to be our host venue. And so I get the chance to do some preview interviews with our many speakers. Today I am speaking with Shane Taylor. Hello, Shane. How are you today?
Doing well, thank you, Joe.
Well, I'm talking from downtown Seattle, and where are you talking to us from today?
I'm coming to you from Holly Springs, North Carolina, which is just outside of Raleigh.
Well, you're going to be right there. Easy commute to be able to get to the event. Why don't we start with just talking a little bit about the types of things you're involved in, your organization, and so on.
Sure. I'm the Technical Communications Manager for Cengage Learning, and have been in that role for about a year. Have worked for Cengage for 2 years since they acquired the company that I previously worked at, which is WebAssign, which is still a part of Cengage. And we're actually on the NC State campus. We're on the Centennial campus with engineering and other. It's kind of a nice public-private venture. If you haven't been to NC State or kind of know anything about the campus, it's kind of a nice intersection of education and tech businesses. So Cengage, of course, is a long-standing textbook publisher, but is really pivoted in the last years to online learning platforms. And so my team provides help and user assistance documentation for using those learning platforms for instructors, for students, and really we measure our success by how effectively our work lets students learn and teachers teach.
Well, it sounds like it's a lot of fun being involved in that. Are there any particular challenges associated with working at Cengage and doing that part of content development?
So one of the big challenges has been that Cengage has grown so much over the past years, and a lot of that has been through acquisition, and certainly there's a lot of internal development as well, but which the acquisition means that there are a lot of different learning platforms that my team is responsible for doing the documentation for. They don't all have a whole lot of commonalities. They haven't all been maintained in the same way. And so it's a challenge. I mean, even to finding the right people to talk to about, for some of these, to say, well, who are our SMEs for this platform or for that particular tool, just because of the nature of how the company has grown over the past number of years. But we're taking it in stride and trying to do what we can, focusing on the highest priority issues. And one of the things that I'm really excited about is that this year my team has put together, with migrating to DITA, has put together online helps for the MindTap platform that didn't have any help at all before, and has migrated the previously Flare-based help for another learning platform, SAM, to DITA as well. So we're using a common set of technologies, a common set of tools, a common help framework for now 3 of our go-forward learning platforms. That would be MindTap, SAM, and of course WebAssign.
Well, before we got started, you were talking about one of the activities that you've added into your stand-up. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've been doing DITA for a long time, but for our team, DITA was really a new technology, and at the suggestion of one of the writers, we started a practice of we're calling it Daily Dose of DITA, and that is, we'll get together for 15 minutes before our daily stand-ups just to talk as a team about, if there are any questions that have come up, hey, is there something you didn't understand, something that didn't work as you expected? Is there something you discovered that you want to share with the rest of the team? It's just an opportunity to do a really kind of a low-key, low-time investment knowledge sharing among the team about DITA and the other tools that we're using, but with a principal focus on DITA. Lately, a lot of the questions have been about Git, but they're related to our DITA practice, and that's just the repository we're using.
Well, as part of that, as you're talking about doing that daily dose of DITA, that also ties into the topic that you're be talking about at the conference. That's DITA for small teams, lessons from the front line. So why don't you give us a little bit of an idea of what we can expect from that session and how you came around to it?
Absolutely. So DITA is one of those things that is so often talked about in terms of large enterprises and huge teams and needing a lot of technology support, a lot of sort of infrastructure and investment to do well. But both my co-presenter Misty Pinter and I have worked on several small teams where we've been able to successfully implement DITA, and it has maybe a different set of advantages for small teams, but definitely is hugely useful. And one of the benefits that we've both seen on our teams is with a small team, your resources are really limited, and if you can leverage reuse and minimize the effort that your team has to make updates that might ripple out to a lot of documents, you save your team an awful lot of work, and you increase consistency and quality.
Well, one of the things that you mentioned in your description that's on the website for the session, talking about debunking the myth that DITA isn't scalable, and how that relates to small teams. I know you're going to talk about it at the event, but maybe talk a little bit about how you've been able to get DITA to fit in with small teams when I think a lot of people's experience with it is with larger teams with more resources to be able to commit to it.
Yeah, so some of the tricks that Misty and I've learned over the years are leverage the existing development tools where they're available. For example, most organizations, you're going to have an existing content management system, and it's not necessarily a full-fledged expensive CMS. It might be something as simple as Subversion or Git in our case, and I highly recommend Git. There are tools that are to your team cheap or free, because either they're open source as in Git, or they're tools that are already being leveraged and supported for your development teams. So for example, we have automated builds that we're using Jenkins for, and that exists because the developers are using Jenkins for their automated builds. And we just said, hey, this is already in place. Let's hook that up so that when we make a commit and push it, we'll get a new build of all the deliverables for that repository.
Well, it should be some good information from us to hear about from you and Misty. And so we'll see you when we start the event up in October 4th and 5th there in Raleigh.
Yeah, really excited about it.
All right. Thanks a lot, Shane. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.